Okay, as realtors, we get this question a lot, especially from people who are looking to relocate to Idaho, that are looking to build a home. And with the inventory shortage that we've been having over the last couple of years, new construction has been incredibly popular and in demand. But when you don't live here and you're not in this community every single day, going through the neighborhoods and visiting the model homes and getting the feedback from clients, how do you know which builder to choose and which neighborhood and community to live in? Well, guess what? Today's your lucky day, because we're going to go through our favorite builders here in North Idaho. We're going to give you some insight into not only production builders, but custom home and high-end builders. So stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. We've got your two favorite North Idaho realtors, Lindsay Allen,
Sammy Randazzo,
and we are here to talk to you about builders in North Idaho. But before we get into it, as always,
like, subscribe, comment, turn on notifications so you can stay up to date with everything that we have going on here and you don't miss a thing.
Exactly. So we are going to break this discussion down into two parts. We've got production builders, and then we've got custom high-end builders. And the difference between the two is production builders typically have planned communities. They're large, hundreds, if not thousands of homes. They have, a handful of plans you can choose from. They're also at least in the last handful of years, kind of like this house is going on this lot and these are the features and these are the amenities. One thing we'll kind of get into is we're seeing a little bit of a shift into being able to kind of dictate some of your finishes with some of these builders. But production style building is definitely like, here's our 10 plans, here's the 10 available lots. We may have already picked everything out and you just have to take this house and these finishes.
You don't get as much say in like a production style.
Yes, and then custom builders or higher end builders, we're kind of categorizing them as the one that you might hire to build on your, Lakeview lot or your riverfront lot or, your estate dream home, in the countryside, where you have, maybe an architect designing something and you're picking out very particular specific finishes and features to go into your home. These homes aren't available to everyone. These are very custom and very specific to the property owner and the owner building the house. So we'll get into production builders first. Okay, so in terms of production builders, typically what we see here is a handful of really large production builders and another kind of tier of the smaller production builders. And we've got some recommendations kind of from both tiers. So first on our list is Greenstone Homes. Greenstone operates in both Washington and Idaho, and they typically have some of the best designed large plan communities. So Coeur d'Alene Place,
the Trails,
Montrose. Well, the Trails is yes. So Coeur d'Alene Place, Montrose. Over in Spokane, they've been very creative in creating these communities where they're very walkable with restaurants. Kendall Yards area, a bunch of other communities over there. So Greenstone is probably what I would say kind of the premier production community planned development builder here in North Idaho and Eastern Washington. What I love too about Greenstone is I think that they've got their process down really well. Their listing agents are very professional. They've got this beautiful design studio that you go into. All sorts of fixtures and tile options and flooring, and it's just, you know, within the scope of production building and your budget, it gives consumers a lot of options. It makes you feel like there's a little bit of a custom aspect to it.
Yeah.
Greenstone also has some very high quality construction. I would say of a lot of the bigger builders, they probably have the least complaints, and I think that they offer some very forward-thinking finishes and features that some of the other builders kind of lag behind on some of those things.
Sure.
Yes, so Greenstone, highly recommend their product, the process, and their neighborhoods. They retain their value really well. As a side note. They're always very sought after. They go on the market as a resale home, and it's pretty easy to sell a Greenstone home too. So just designed very well. Next on the list of production builders that we have is Hallmark Homes. Hallmark I would say is one of those kind of second tier, smaller production builders. Again, they've got their plans, they've got some neighborhoods that they work through. They're usually more, they're not the, hundreds and hundreds of homes in their neighborhoods. They might have, kind of a pocket neighborhood, a cul-de-sac, a street or two. One of their largest neighborhoods is Lake Forest West, which is beautiful. Mm-hmm. That one's across the street from Lake City.
Yeah, super pretty.
Yes. They just have they're good quality home. They're not quantity over quality, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And a lot of the features that they have are just really beautiful. They're not necessarily the most on-trend builder, but they do offer some really just quality, kind of that timber, mm-hmm. Pacific Northwest style in a production home and in their neighborhoods. Their neighborhoods are very well planned out. The curb appeal on the homes is beautiful. Those homes, again, also high quality, very good resale on those homes, and they just they're a good experience, good builders, quality over quantity. I would say on that one for sure.
Definitely.
Next on our list is Architerra Homes. Now, Architerra is newer compared to the rest of these. They're probably one of the newer production builders, but they have stepped into that arena of large-scale development homes or development projects. And so the trails,
yes,
Foxtail. Mm-hmm. There's also up at Fieldstone, they had a section of stuff they're building up at Fieldstone. They've also kind of entered into maybe a slightly more affordable product out at Woodbridge, which is near State Line and Post Falls. But some of their, and they kind of have a kind of different levels, I guess you could say, of affordability. They've got some stuff that's slightly more basic, maybe not a lot of upgrades and foo-foo.
Or like a starter.
Yes, but their kind of premier products, they have a lot of standard features that other builders don't. So, the 8-foot doors, the big trim packages, probably more windows than you see on typical builds, and very cool floor plans.
Yeah.
Their floor plans aren't as, box, bedroom, bathroom, living room, kitchen. It's their floor plans that you don't see replicated across a lot of builders.
Yeah, a little bit more unique.
Yes, definitely. And I think too, there's a little bit of a design aspect with Architerra that I would put in the same kind of realm as Greenstone. They're really looking to maximize curb appeal, adding a bit more columns or, some accents in the gables, or having some higher end flooring finishes or cabinet or countertop options that typically look a bit more custom or come across as a bit more expensive.
Right.
And they definitely have a higher end aesthetic than some of the other builders. And I think, like I said, they're kind of the newer kid on the block in terms of production building is concerned. And I know that they've got lots of big plans and access to a lot of land. And so I think that they're going to continue to kind of take market share and create some of these really cool communities. One thing I do know too about Architerra is in a handful of their communities that they've developed, like Foxtail, for example, and Fieldstone, they've donated land to the public school district to build elementary schools.
Yes.
Because obviously, if you bring all these families in, there's going to be kids. All these kids can't just keep going to the same schools and packing the existing schools. So they've been very conscientious about kind of the planning aspect of everything. So I know that there's some stuff coming down the pipeline in Coeur d'Alene near the trails and Hutter, and that'll be some big stuff to look out with Architerra. Next on the list is Viking. Now Viking I put on this list because they are everywhere. They're in Rathdrum, they're in Post Falls, they're in Coeur d'Alene. They do a ton of development all over the place. So Greenstone is more like, hey, we're going to acquire this large parcel of land and be the only builder in here, and we're going to build 1,000 homes. Viking is like, well, we've got this over here and this over here, this over here. They've done a lot of land acquisition and development and lots of kind of smaller neighborhoods, but they build hundreds of homes a year. So now Viking Homes definitely was in its earlier years more entry-level new construction. Very basic, kind of bland. I mean, I'll be honest, some of it was a little bland, very neutral, very builder grade. But in the last, decade or so, they've really morphed into offering a better product, better floor plans, better finishes, all kind of in the standard budget. Yeah. And they even offer a product now that's kind of like their I want to say it's called like Viking Series or something like that, in which it's a home and a product that competes with Greenstone, Architerra,
kind of like their next level tier.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, it's a little bit higher end compared to what Viking traditionally offers. It hits a different price point, obviously. Some of these neighborhoods that they build these styles of homes in have, detached big garages and shops and things like that. Nice waterfalls at the entries and things like that. But Viking offers quantity for sure. They know how to build large numbers of homes, and they've got communities all over North Idaho. So it's a great option to get into, and a lot of times meets a price point that some of these other builders don't meet as well. So next on the list, we've got two more builders on this list. Timbered Ridge. Timbered Ridge is definitely the builder we see more on acreage lots in Athol or Rathdrum. And, you might see and these are still production style homes. It's, here's a plan, here's the options for finishes, for flooring, but they're on the acreage lots. They, shop lots, privacy, kind of this product that's been very highly sought after for the last 5 years here in North Idaho. Timbered Ridge is filling that production style gap for that need for that consumer. They build a beautiful house. Again, and the name kind of says it all, Timbered Ridge. Yeah. It's the Pacific Northwest timbery vibe, and so they offer a great product. And then the last the last builder on this list is probably one of the smaller production builders.
Yeah.
But they're Anthem Pacific. And the reason I bring them into this is because they're a husband-wife duo, and they have kind of brought a different aesthetic to production style homes. So, front doors with glass grids and different cabinet options and different, just a different curb appeal.
Yeah.
And it just seems more modern.
Yeah.
Kind of farmhouse style, which you don't see a lot in production building.
Right. It's more kind of like your custom. You would see that typically.
Exactly. It's just really cute, really beautiful. They don't have the largest offering of plans or communities to find their homes in. But in terms of that kind of smaller production level, our favorite builders, we wanted to include Anthem Pacific on this list. So now we jump into custom home builders.
Yes.
And this is, like we said, lakefront,
your lot that you've purchased, maybe been sitting on for a minute, but now you're ready to build your dream home. You get a little bit more say, a little bit more face time with your builder, a lot more hands-on to make sure that this is custom for you.
Yes. Exactly.
And they're always so beautiful. So nice.
First builder on our list, Aspen Homes.
Yes.
And they have been around in North Idaho for, I want to say, almost 20 years, if not more. And they were kind of the first big custom home builder. They've done a little foray into some production building. It's definitely high-end production building. You're looking at $800,000 to $1 million for these production-style homes with really nice features. But Aspen Homes is really known for their customs, and they are just beautiful. Very big on the Pacific Northwest timber, exposed wood beams. Cedar on the outside of the house, wood finishes.
If you watched our video about our golf courses, Aspen does a lot of work up at Black Rock, Coeur d'Alene National now, National Reserve.
Yep.
I keep getting that because I want to call it Rock Creek.
I know.
It's not Rock Creek anymore. But Aspen Homes does a lot of work up in those golf course areas where it's rustic outside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful high-end homes. They have everything in-house. Architects, designers, interior designers. They're design build type of company. They do some of the most sought after homes in our area. And they've also kind of added in the last handful of years kind of maybe a modern flair to kind of bring a different offering or a different flavor to what their traditional style is. But Aspen is definitely high on the list of custom high-end builders here in town. Next on the list is Atlas Homes. And a friend of ours started Atlas a handful of years ago to bring a much more modern urban product.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that Atlas Homes offers that's here in town, especially down in the Riverstone, Atlas Mill site area. But they also do custom homes, on your own lot. And one thing I think that Atlas has just been so good about is just bringing some different flair to the area.
Yeah, and it's you watch some of their little home tours when everything's all finished, and it's just very unique and almost very industrial, but so modern still. It's I love Atlas, their finishes. It's just they do such a good job. Everything is you can tell just very well thought out and very well planned, and they're just gorgeous.
Oh yeah. And what you'll notice, I think, a lot with the descriptions we've been giving of not just the production style homes, but even these custom homes, is this Pacific Northwest timbery vibe, lots of wood, lots of dark, rich colors. And Atlas is so different. I mean, they came on the scene and they were incredibly modern. They I mean, it's something I feel like you see in Seattle or
Yeah.
LA.
Yep.
It brings that flair.
It's like a little bit more like trendy.
Yes.
They're stunning.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely stunning. Just some things that you would never think of. You see these features in their homes, and it's just like, who thought of that?
Yeah, they're cool.
Yes,
They're really cool.
really cool.
They're
Cool is the
exactly.
vibe.
It's like it's cool guy vibe.
Yes, urban,
Yes.
kind of masculine a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
Edgy.
So, very edgy.
Yeah.
Yes. So if that's your style, Atlas is your company for sure. Next on our list in terms of builders is Rosenberger Construction. Rosenberger, again, is super high end, very well thought out, like estate style homes. They've built amazing things out at Black Rock, all over Hayden, all over the lakes, all over Lake Coeur d'Alene, Hayden Lake. They do a lot of, they again also have had a little foray into high-end production building, but their premier product is just these gorgeous mountain, like estate style homes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
And
cool.
so the Rosenberger family, they're kind of, they're not as big, I think, quantity-wise as Aspen, but the Rosenberger family, they are locals. They have a ranch in Hayden, and they've just been so thoughtful about the quality of the product and a lot of hand-hewn logs and timber used around the house, like copper sinks and just really cool like stone products throughout the house. It's a very earthy vibe that they bring to life in their homes, and just high quality, stunning products. So Rosenberger definitely is on the list in terms of beautiful custom home high-end builders here in North Idaho. Next on the list, we've got Monarch Homes. Monarch's one of my favorite builders.
Yeah.
They've got this cool mix of the mountain Pacific Northwest timbery look, but they've got a lot of kind of farmhouse modern touches. They've in the last handful of years really added a lot of lighter colors and features, marbles, quartzes, just beautiful tile showers.
Right.
I mean, and their floor plans are awesome, and the communities that they tend to build in are just stunning. But Monarch Homes, and I've seen a couple of the things too that they've built around the lake. They can go, they could go modern, they could go kind of New England, Cape Cod-y, they can go Pacific Northwest, timbery. They've got a lot of kind of plays that they can make.
Yeah.
And some of my favorite homes I've ever seen here in North Idaho have been Monarch Homes.
Yeah.
I'm just highly impressed with the quality and the scope of kind of what they offer. It's just really cool, really cool. And then last one on the list, Selkirk Construction. Selkirk is kind of, I would say, in the same vein as Rosenberger. Definitely kind of committed to the Pacific Northwest vibe. And the reason that these companies thrive here is because it's a product that's sought after.
Right.
People want that. And I know personally, sometimes I'm like, oh, can't we see something different? That's why Atlas stands out so much.
I know,
but
yeah.
Selkirk makes just some beautiful, beautiful homes. The quality of the finishes, the landscaping, the curb appeal, it's just insane. Again, I would kind of put them in that same vein as Rosenberger Homes, but just beautiful, beautiful homes. And so again, one of the best ways to kind of get exposed to these builders and their products and their styles, other than getting on their websites or visiting their showrooms, is the Parade of Homes.
Parade of Homes, yeah.
Highly recommend that. We are going to visit the Parade of Homes this year, and we'll be putting some stuff out on our social media pages, so keep an eye out for that. We'll hope to feature some of these builders that we talked about here, so you can see some of their products in person on some reels or some videos that you'll see on Instagram and Facebook. But if you have any questions about builders in North Idaho, where they're building, what type of communities they create, some of the finishes or availability of product and inventory, don't hesitate to call us, text us, email us. We'll be happy to answer any of your questions about builders here in North Idaho. There's definitely plenty of options, and these are only a handful of them that we talked about today, but these are probably the ones we feel that are worth featuring the most.
Yeah.
So let us know if you have any questions, and as always, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time and your enjoyment of these viewing opportunities, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.